friends, it's Kim Sparks back with Making Creative Memories in Time, and today is Saturday, and that means it is another day of Simple Page Kit. And I know you can hear in my voice, I'm sick. I am much better. I'm still very short of breath, so I am going to ask for your patience and your kindness as I work through today's video. I debated on just postponing until I feel better, but I really want to create today, and so just bear with me. So last week you saw me create, and I've already put it away in an album, this first Natural Beginning Simple Page Kit, and I will link that video below if this is your first time seeing this. And in that video, I talked to you about how you can receive one of the 3 Simple Page Kits for free. That video shows all 3 page kits. I am using the Natural Beginnings again today, and that offer is still on the table. If you would like a Simple Page Kit for free, comment down below and send me an email. My email is linked below so that you can tell me which kit you want. I can get your address, get it sent to your door, and we can schedule a class. But the reason I decided to go ahead and go back to Natural Beginnings instead of showing you another one of the new Simple Page Kits today is I want to cut this kit apart. I want to show you how I'm going to use it differently. And this is going to be more of a creative, a little bit more my style than just the simple page kit. So I want even advanced scrapbookers who love to do technique and all of the wonderful things in their scrapbooking, that for, you know, just some good base pages, like, you can do a lot with this. So I am pulling photos that are not of the same event, that are of the same time period, that I'm going to be working with today. And these 2 pictures, Ashley had come to my classroom. This is my niece, who is now a mother, back in 2003, and she'd come to my 2nd grade classroom, and she got to spend the afternoon with me. She'd been to the doctor, and she came by to say hello to me. And this is over in my reading corner way back in 2003. And this is, she was taking ballet classes, and she was doing a private ballet lesson for her auntie. And so these photos, this is why I decided again, Neutral Beginnings. She's in like a pale pink here, and she's in a hot pink here, and some lime green shoes and all of that good stuff, and then the primary colors of my classroom. So I didn't really want like bold in your face, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull Natural Beginnings. So I want to show you one more time what the Simple Page Kit design looks like when it comes to you, and then we're going to put this away because I'm going to chop it up, okay? We're going to put it away because I am going to chop it up. So, this is the sticker sheet that comes with, and I'm going to use some of these stickers. Not really sure exactly what yet. Let's lay this back out of the way. And what I want to say also, friends, about using these Simple Page Kits to cut them up, you can totally 100% then stash, bust, and pull things from your stash. So this is your cut apart paper, all neutral, right? This is all beige, all neutral. So these are measured at, I'm pretty sure I checked these. These are at 4 inches. Move that guy out of the way. Yes, these are at 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and just line this up at 4. And we are going to cut at 4 inches. And let me look at what I did here. So that's the strap. There's another strap. I'm going to go ahead and do another strap. Okay. And then this is just that soft, like suede beige. I'm not sure that we're going to use that. because I don't have enough of this to do a mat on each of these photos. So I had already trimmed my photos down. I don't want to tell you the wrong dimension. So these photos are 3.5 by 3.5 square. And these photos, if I'm not mistaken, are 3.5 by 5.5. So these are 3.5 by 5.5. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to cut a photo mat 3.5, 3.5. So we're going to let this be 3.25 by 3.25. And this is going to become our photo mat. So then we're going to go 3.25 by 3.25. Don't worry about that because my photo is going to cover that. So I'm using this. Now it may not cover here. So what we may need to do here, friends, is we may need to 3.75, I mean. So let's take, that one is not going to work, but I believe we're going to have enough. So let's just hold this one out. I was thinking that was going to work. So let's go back to 3.75. And then by 3.75. Now, I'm not going to cut that out when I edit my video because, like, I have a concept in my mind of how I want this page to go. I did not sit and draw anything out for you, so it's going to be what it's going to be, okay? So that's going to be my mat, and then I'm going to come in with another 3.75 by 3.75. And you know, I am, I mean, sometimes you have to, like, stop your video and find things that you didn't get out, or, you know, you have faux pas that happen, and I'm perfectly fine with editing that stuff out. But, like, when it comes to thought process, I really want to be somebody who gives you, you know, I want to tell you my thought process, right? For me, that's one of the reasons I do these videos with you, is I want you to learn, not from me per se, but like I want to share who I am as a creator with you, right? So this one is going to be 5.75, and then we're going to do 5.75. Because some of you may enjoy, like, my crazy thought process, right? And I've already forgotten what I told you this measurement was. So that's 3.5. So then this is going to be by 3.75. That's what I thought, but I needed to double check myself. Listen, friends, hubby tested positive for COVID last Friday. I started getting sick on Sunday. Today is Saturday, and I sound horrible, but I'm finally better. I was taking the same medication that his telehealth had provided to him, and then when I did a telehealth with my doctor was like, oh no, you know, I'm not going to shame another doctor, but that's the wrong kind of medication. That medicine treats bacterial infection, and COVID is viral, and you need to be on Paxlovid. When I'm just here to tell you, like, I probably would have gone in instead of doing a telehealth, but I was so sick I couldn't drive myself. And hubby was back to work. It didn't affect him as horribly as it did me. My parents were coming home, and I couldn't get my sister to take me to the doctor because my parents were on their way home for medical appointments, and they stay with my sister. And if you know anything about my family, you know my dad has recently had cancer and gone through radiation treatment that he just completed in November. And I had to keep my dad and my mom safe, and I was like, yep, we're not going to do this. So, but had I been able to go to the doctor that day, I think I would have had some IVs. So I debated about if I wanted to use this as a base page or not, and I have decided that I am going to use these as a base page simply because I like them. I think they're awesome, and we're going to customize this in a way that still makes this feel different from that original Simple Page Kit design. And we're totally going away from it, okay? And so what I did, again, I said I was going to be doing some stash busting. So I pulled some paper that I feel like is going to complement these cutie tootie little pages right here, these cutie tootie little pictures. And even though they're of the same summer, but they're two different events, they're going to live side by side in her 2003 album, and I'm okay with that. All right. So I am loving, these are from, this paper is from a collection called Jazzberry, and these are just some sheets and bits and pieces I have left. And I'm also wanting to pull in some avocado green because I do want to use some, like I want to use that little envelope sticker again. And so what I think I'm going to do, and this is where this is working out in my head, I think I am going to create a square or a rectangle. It's not necessarily going to be a square of color within, okay? And I'm thinking that that is going to be this piece. And probably what's going to happen is we're going to, and I'm going to go with exactly what this dimension is. I have another 12 by 12 piece of this paper, but I am going to be perfectly fine with working it just the way it is. We're just going to cut it, okay? And we're going to work with it the way it is because I don't want this to be way overpowering in any way whatsoever. So we're going to let this be just the way it is. All right, now I have this cute piece of pink, and then I have this cute floral. I don't feel like this, although this cute floral is cute with that polka dot, I don't know what this is going to look like just as basically a layer for these to sit on and pull your eye to the center. So let's just take a look, okay? Or if we go with the bolder pink, I feel like the bolder pink is going to pull your eye, right? That's what I feel like is going to happen. It's going to pull your eye. And then to pull that green in, I think I'm going to come back and I'm going to do an additional matte behind these photos with this avocado green to really, really help pull those photos, like make them pop off the page. So something I think I'm going to do, friends, and I've just not done this in a while, I think I'm going to cut a 2-inch, I'm going to cut two 2-inch pieces of paper. Again, I didn't like plan this out. I just, we're designing on the fly. But I thought about pulling in some punches and things, and I thought, nope, I want this to still say somewhat simple. I don't want to use a bunch of tools and things, but what I am going to do to make this really cutie tootie is I am going to do some paper tearing, and I'm going to try to do paper tearing at the same time, which I probably am going to regret doing, but, you know, we're sick, we may as well. If we're going to have some fun, you know, have some fun. So I'm pulling towards me, and this is going to expose the white center of that paper. And I'm just, it's like maybe in some areas a little bit more than a fourth, some areas maybe a little bit less than a fourth. But what I'm trying to do is I'm using this thumb as a guide, just so that I don't get very jagged. I don't want very jagged. I just want some distressing on the bottom of this, okay? That's all I want, is just some distressing on the bottom. And we may end up, this may end up only being like as long as the photos are. You know what I'm saying? Like this may end up getting a banner cut in it right here. But I'm liking this. I'm liking where this is going. Are you liking where this is going, friends? Because I'm liking where it's going. And then I'm liking this. Now remember, we have this border. I'm not going to use it on the, if you watched the other video, you saw it went here. It probably will come in here somewhere, just, you know, for some cuteness, possibly. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go off camera. You guys don't need to see me trim out these photos in this avocado. I'm going to get them matted down, and I'm going to pull in, get some ink ready, and then we'll be ready to finish off this page, okay? Okay, so I decided on a chunky, because I really want these photos to stand out, and with all of the pink, I wanted a chunkier avocado border. So I went with a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 border here, and 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 border here, and that's really allowing those to stand out. Now, I do think I want to dovetail these, so I am just going to, probably what I'm going to do here, friends, is, and I don't have this lined up at all. I want to tell you what I'm cutting off. I want to be, so I think I'm going to take about 2 inches off each end. Or not each end, but 2 inches off one end and 2 inches off one end on the other. And I'm probably going to end up using these maybe somewhere else up here. Not really sure. So, and now while we're at it, let's go ahead and look at where we want. Is this a 12-inch piece? This is a 12-inch piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 7 and 5. We're just going to do 7 and 5. And where we land is where we land. Okay? 7 and 5 is where we're going with that. Alright, so let's get ourselves lined up here. And I know that I'm taking this, and that's the point of what I'm showing you. This is no longer like super fast. This, turning this into my own page is no longer making it a super fast scrapbook style. Like, it's still going to be simple, right? I'm still using these base pages. I'm still using some of the components, but it's just not going to be that, you know, take it out of the plastic and create it in, you know, 15 minutes kind of thing. And I'm just going to visually, like, I'm going to do this at 2 inches from the bottom, 2 inches from the top. That's literally just going to be center of my page. And I didn't measure this, friends, so this is 8 inches. This was a scrap that was left from me designing with this paper collection before. And I want to say another one of my goals, scrapbooking goals for 2026 is to, yes, I want to buy pretty new things. And yes, I want to use pretty new things. But I also want to use things that I loved enough to buy before and still have in my stash. Like, I want to use my stash. And these simple page kit designs are a way for me to do that. So now I'm going to come in and I am going to, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go literally right above where that first little center is on that flower. And we're just going to cut from the corner to that flower. Now, lots of people do their dovetail different. This works for me. I've seen people use the trimmer to do their dovetail. I've seen people fold a little bit to do their dovetail. I just do it by eyeball, by hand. You know, I don't get too tore up if I, like right there, I made a little boo-boo. I don't get too tore up about that, friends. Not at all. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, and we want to make sure that we're going to do it on this end. And the reason why I remind myself of that is because my paper is torn, I can't just flip it. So I'm going to lay this down. I know me. And I want to make sure that I'm cutting on the right side. Okay, and it's okay if one side is a little deeper. It's a dovetail. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And then I do think that I want to add just a smidge of this. Just a smidge of this, friends. Because I do like this. I think it's cute and it's very feminine. So I'm going to go into like 3/4 of an inch. Okay. Let me look at this. It's not really a directional paper. But I'm going to do 3/4. And I'm going to do another 3/4. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take 2 inches off. And I just like this. And I'm thinking I may want to do a little, like, flags, banners somewhere on the page. If you know me, you know, right? Sometimes an idea, like, just spins off in my head and I think I'm happy with it, and I think, oh, I'm going to like this, and then I get to it, and I don't, you know. We're going to do, and I'm going to do both of these dovetails at the same time, because where this is non-directional, I can flip it. I didn't tear this, so we're just going to dovetail at the same time, and this is going to be a tiny, tiny little dovetail. Pull in my tabletop trash can, friends. And I didn't even hit my tabletop trash can with my first one. Okay, and so here's what I'm thinking. Number one, I like the little splatter of floral pattern. And then I also like that this throws in a little tiny bit more of that avocado green. And I'm going to line this up so that those banners sort of overlap a little bit. And then this is a nice little spot for our photos to rest on. See what we're doing there? We're creating, and this is why I love to teach, friends. We are creating color in the center, not overwhelming color, but color in the center. And then we're doing these layers and then this bold color here to pull your eye to the center of the photos. And I love it, love it, love it, love it. So what I'm thinking may happen here, friends, I'm thinking that we may do, and here's the thing, that's kind of chunky, right? So that is 2 by 2. So let's cut this down to 1.5. Well, you know what? Let's just split the difference. And that way we only cut it once. Let's just split the difference. And now we're going to have a banner for here. And then down here, let's do one on this edge. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Let's go ahead and dovetail these. And we're going to have a little bit of that green again. We're just going to do a little dovetail. And now keep in mind, as you're watching this, that this is no longer intended to be a simple page kit, right? This is taking a simple page kit and now making it into a scrapbook design that we love, right? I'm not saying that we don't love the simple page kits at all. Not saying that, okay? I'm just saying I'm liking turning this into something that I like, all right? Now, what I'm thinking, and fits the photos that I'm working with, what I'm thinking is I had pulled some, and this might be a situation where I am going to have to edit because I had pulled some alphabet and I've lost one. The title that I want to create says My Girl, and I have lost my M. So I'm probably going to have to cut. I don't have to announce that to you, but like I always say, I'm not going to edit that out. Well, I'm going to tell you here, I am going to edit because I've lost my M. I've hidden it from myself. Okay, so I found my M. Well, technically, I did not find my M, so it's stuck to the back of something, and I will find it. But I got another one out, so I'm thinking, originally, I had thought that this might get colored pink because it would show up really pretty against this white dot grid background. But now, friends, I am loving this, just this white. And so right now I'm going to think about, so this title is just going to say My Girl. And I'm just dry fitting everything before I start, like I commit and glue everything down, okay? And remember I had mentioned I may want to use this. No, we're not going to use this at all, this banner. And to be honest with you, I really do like this. So let's pull out our little sticker, silicone mat. Oh, there is a little sticker that was stuck to that. It's different shade of pink. I started to say, oh, it's different shade of pink. So I do think I'm going to use this. And I think it's going to sort of sit. It may sit like right here. And I had pulled some flowers from my stash. I don't know that I'm feeling the stripes. And I don't know that I'm feeling these. I don't know. It doesn't mean I'm not going to use them. Okay. Doesn't mean that at all. This was a little journal spot that was left over in this same Jazzberry collection. And I feel like I could, in the page protector, sort of make a little hidden journal spot there. These are some stickers that came from either a scrapbook store, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, somewhere. And I think they're probably pretty old. If I can find like a date on them, they're probably fairly old if I was speculating. And I love them, and I pulled them from my little girly sticker stash because, hello, you got the green, and it says girly girl. There's nothing more girly girl than this going on, right? And I'm feeling like I'm liking the girly girl, and I think the girly girl is going to fit beautiful right there. Like, just beautiful right there. I like it just the way it is. So I'm going to pull. Oh, please don't let them be individual stickers. And you know what, friends? They are individual stickers. So we'll learn, we'll do a little trick when it comes to this. We'll do a little trick. Okay, I'm just going to move this to the side. And then I have pulled, these are just some, I think these are This Life, and they're just some random stickers. Now the green obviously is a little bit different green, but you've got some little pink hearts, and then you've got some, there's only one pink banner though, but we may pull from some of these little pink hearts, maybe, possibly. That one is pink and red, and I really don't have any red on the page, and I really don't want red on the page. So we may or we may not pull from those. But we have some of this left over, and I'm trying to find the exact, we have some of this paper left over that has some beautiful floral pieces, and this matches this paper perfectly, I might add, perfectly. So I'm going to start with this, and we are going to do a little trimmy trim. And while this flower is cut and it doesn't necessarily have all of its petals over on this side, We're going to sort of trim it around a little bit to make it look like it possibly has petals in the places that it doesn't have petals. Okay. And we may have to pull in a die cut to get some leaves, and that's okay if we do. Or we may pull a stamp. Probably we'll do a die cut leaf here and there. Started to say we may stamp, but I don't know that a stamp will do good on that sticker. But here's what we're going to do, friends. We're going to turn this little envelope into like a little floral bouquet. And we're just going to fussy cut this out. Nothing real fancy, okay? Let me go ahead and put some sticky powder on the back of this. And then this is sort of going to go, now let's let our title come a little bit more this way because I don't want all that real squishy together, okay? Not real squishy together anyway. And I don't want to hide that dovetail. I want to kind of keep that. All right, now here's what I'm going to do, friends. I am going to pull in my X-Acto knife, and I'm hoping I'm on camera. I am hoping I am on camera, friends. I'm going to trim right where that envelope would literally open, okay? Remember how I said we're going to turn this into a little bouquet? This envelope into a little bouquet. Alright, now I'm going to open it up. And then I'm going to take my closed scissor. And we're just going to make sure we don't have any really rough edge right there, okay? And then we're going to take this little guy right here. And obviously, we're not going to cut the exact same flower, but what if we just cut a little off of this one? And the reason why I'm not taking the whole thing in is I want it, and I may end up, like, well, let's let this one place like that, and this one place like that, and then it's going to be just this little, so let's cut that little, we want that tucked in, there we go, like that. Oh yeah, I'm liking that, friends. I am liking that. And then, right here, I definitely know I want to put this, remember this? I definitely want to put this on there. And I'm going to let this sort of sit a little off to one side. Oh, I love it. Yes, I love it, friends. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, now I think we're probably going to be ready to start putting everything together. Okay, again, it's going to still be a little bit simple page kitty, right? Let's trim. We're not going to have anything heavy here. I keep losing my pieces of paper, friends. How do I keep losing my pieces of paper? I've lost my little banner right here. And the reason that I'm not gluing things down as I go is I don't know that that's where I want it to stay. But we'll come back to that. I'll find it. I will find it. So I think I am going to cut this little sort of cluster together. And I think this may be a little more diagonal, and this may be how that goes. So let's just fussy cut this real quickly. And I think I'm going to let this be one little cluster of flower. And it's not going to matter to me if a little bit of green is here and there. My goal in this is not for this to look perfect or to make this look like it is real flowers that came out of a Prima package or, you know, any other brand of flowers. It's just to make this a cutie tootie feminine little page. And I want to use, instead of cutting these flowers apart, I am going to let this be one little cluster. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that larger one off. And then let's just come back and fussy cut a little bit more. And this, friends, is one of my favorite ways to use a very busy, like, hero style paper. I absolutely love fussy cutting from like a busy hero style paper. Love it. And for me, sometimes perfection matters in fussy cutting, but what I'm doing at this very moment, perfection does not matter. Well, friends, I'm loving this so far. And let's just do a little bit more. And I think what I'm going to do, instead of this tickled pink, I'm not going to use that. I think we're going to have this little cluster like it's coming out of that flower. And then just to pull this little flower over, we're going to have this little flower, just the piece that we took off. Just the piece that we took off. We're going to let it come right back in. And that way we're pulling the same element from here to here. I'll have strip journaling down here. Okay, so now, friends, we are ready to start. And since I have yet lost another piece of paper, we'll go back and cut that. That's no problem. So let's go ahead and start getting these pieces glued down. So I think I am going to let this be at, this bottom piece is going to be at 3 inches. So this is going to be at 4 3/4 up. Okay. And I'm probably going to need to just stand and make sure that is not crooked. And let me pull in a ruler. And I am just a little crooked. This again is why your girl likes to use the repositionable adhesive. And remember, whenever we were dry fitting this, we said we wanted this to sort of overlap right there, just a little. Now let's see how crooked we are here. I think we're pretty good right there. I'm going to go ahead and put this down because I don't know. I have an extremely fuzzy rug that, and the color of the rug in my room makes it so easy for things like you literally have to get down and look. And then I've probably got 20 paper packs under my desk at the moment, but we'll just cut us a new one. And as soon as this video ends, it'll pop up. I do that to myself all the time, friends. all the time. Can't be the only one. Like, come on, friends. I can't be the only one. So we're going to do about 1/4 of an inch. And I want a little tiny bit of that flower to show there. And then we're going to do about 1/4 of an inch. Again, you're not seeing a lot of that up here, but that color is there to pull your eye in. Okay? Now let's go ahead. I could totally use some dimension if I wanted here, but we're not going to use any dimension. We're just going to let that little guy lay flat. Same way with this. We're just going to take this little piece under, just so it appears we have the same thing happening over here. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and cut another. That was 3/4 of an inch. And it was by 2. And there's our little piece. And let's go ahead and dovetail that. And we're going to add that down. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead because I don't want to lose these 2 pieces. And we're going to get these adhered down first because I could see me losing that again. And then we'll come back and adhere the rest of this. And I thought I was going to use some ink, but I think all I'm going to do at the very end, friends, is add in, I do think I will die cut some leaves. And then I think I'm going to add in some sparkle. And I think that'll be it. So, let's scooch these. And hopefully I'm not going to lose a letter in between that, right? That piece is glued down, okay? So let's go ahead and adhere this piece. And this was and let's stand up and make sure we're not crooked. I think we're pretty good on that one. I am so happy that I decided not to postpone this because, I don't know, there's just something about creating that just makes you feel better, right? Like your soul just feels better when you create. And I think I want the little leg cross because I feel like her movement inward and her movement inward here also helps guide your eye. Okay, so we're going to come in about 1/4 and about 1/8 of an inch of that little cutie tootie floral paper. I feel like that little floral, that little calico floral is just the perfect touch. It's not in your face like a lot of color, but I'm loving it. Like, I'm loving it, friends. Okay, now let's pull in my girl. And we're going to use our liquid adhesive on my girl. And we're going to find our tweezers. And this page is almost wrapped up, friends. Again, I initially thought I was going to color these letters with some ink. But I'm liking it just the way it is. Oh, I'm liking it. Yes, I am. Okay, so let's pull in some liquid glue. And if you follow me, you know your girl loves the Barely Arts at Amazon. I'm pretty sure scrapbook.com sells it. I just always end up getting it from Amazon. Because here at my house, it feels like we have an Amazon order coming at least once a week. At least. And it's very easy to just add it when I know I need it, just to add it on one of my weekly orders, and it's here before I actually run out. I've gone through, this is my second bottle since I found it. Like, it's the best. And the thing that I love best about it is that it dries clear. You don't get any sheen at all when it dries. And you can even, I have been happy, because I'm not horribly picky, but I have even been happy with using it to strategically, keyword strategically, adhere vellum. You know, of course you don't want to put it in a spot where your eye is immediately going to go to the fact that you used some glue, but if you don't use a lot and you're strategic in where you place it, it even is unnoticeable on vellum. Okay, I'm loving this. Look at that, friends. Oh, and you know what? Let's just go ahead and use, since we have it, because we took the sticky off the back of that. Now, I feel like what I'm going to do here is just scatter a little, and I'm just going to hold that down and let that glue. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to sprinkle a little. And you can't even tell that that was cut, friends. You can't even tell. So, I am going to put a little leaf. I feel like I need some to make the green balance. We're going to have a little leaf there. But we talked about how we are going to get this. It's individual letters, right? How am I going to get individual letters transferred without them being crooked? And with the correct spacing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to peel and trim from the top. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I'm peeling each letter back and just trimming the backing sheet so that my letters are still going to be intact on the bottom half. Of the acetate. And it will make placement of the girly girl, hopefully, perfect. I've done this before and it works perfectly. If you can not mess your letters up. I should have sprinkled a little bit of powder on my fingers before I started this. Now at this point, I'm going to see, I've got enough of it cut that I'm going to see if I can go ahead and just tear the rest of this. There we go. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, friends. We're going to try to get the inside of this R out. Okay. And if my head gets in, I'm sorry. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to pull backwards. Nobody said this was going to be super fast. And of course, G is going to want to be a little bit of a booger. And then you just peel your acetate back. And then there is one tiny little piece of the inside of that R. There we go. So there's a little trick to get your stickers straight. Okay, now I am going to move this over, and we are going to we're going to real quickly cut a couple leaves. These are a little bit larger, but that's okay. And I could cut this off camera, but I want to show you. I'm going to use, I really like this leaf. Let's see what we get. And let's do this one too. I like that one. I've got lots of different leaves. I like that this one is open, and you're going to get that green without having a lot of heavy green. And same way with this one. This one is going to give you a fun little bit of, and I think that's all I'm going to do, friends. I think I'm only going to use those two leaves. So I'm going to pop this out of the way, and then we're going to get these attached, and we're going to call this project finished. So I'm going to squish this over, and we're going to pull this up just a little, and we're going to come back in. Now, I could put a couple more leaves in, like a shorter leaf and things, but I'm going to be good with just this one leaf. And here's the thing, I want that. Now when it goes in the album, it's going to lay somewhat flat. But I'm good with that. And the same way here, we're just going to, and these are some die cuts that just come out of my stash. Remember how I said we're going to stash bust a little bit? Well, that's what we're doing, friends. We're stash busting just a little bit. And then all we need to do now is throw down a few gems. And I can add some strip journals. And this is finished. Let's go ahead and take this part off. And take it off of the blue mats so you can see it a little bit better. And we're going to do just a tiny little bit of review. Let me pull in some little gems. Now, when I go to the Hobby Lobby, I pick up these little gems. These are 3 different sizes. You have a little bit larger size, a mid-size, and a small size. And I'm looking to see if it tells me the millimeter size, and it doesn't. It just says assorted gems. And for this particular project, I'm trying to find where I open them. For this particular project, I'm going to use the smaller one. I'm just going to use all 3 of them are going to be the smaller size, and which are not really small by standard. And we're going to do like a little visual triangle with your gems. Okay, 1, 2, 3, visual triangle. Now up here, so I've got 3 here. We're going to keep it odd on this page. We're going to do 1, and we're going to do 2. So that's going to be 5 on that page, okay? And then over here, we're going to do the same thing down here. We're going to do 1, and we're going to do 2, okay? And then we're going to sprinkle 3 up here. So let's do 1, 2, and let's do 1 like right here. And you know what, friends? Now that I look at that, I don't know that I really like where that one is. So I'm going to try to gently, so gently. Now it is sort of tearing my paper. And I may be stuck with it, but my heart is wanting to take it back in a little bit, but I think I'm stuck with it. But it's okay. I promise, it's okay. So there we have it. We took this paper collection and pulled a few things from our stash, and we created our own design. Okay, we created our own design. So what do you guys think? Do you like it? I love it. There's a little look at that little pocket of posies that we created, and then the little girly girl sticker right on the photo. And then this little cluster. I probably am going to work on this because I'm not happy. I like that leaf, but I want to take it back a little bit more. We may get this to work, friends. I don't know. And we may have to completely redo it. Whoops. We may have to completely redo it. I just feel like I want it tucked back a little bit farther. Does that make sense? I feel like it was just sticking out too far. don't know. We may leave it right there. But anyway, we'll come back and I'll work on that off camera. But there you go, friends. And then I will have just some white strip journaling right in here. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And I will see you back next Saturday for my next episode of Simple Page Kit Saturday. Happy scrapping!